Hey, welcome back to another episode from Life for Living Well. My name is Richard. Before I dive into the topic I have for us this week, I'd like to quickly say if you'd like to know one or two things about Life for Living Well community, you can check it out on our website at www.lifeforlivingwell.com. And if you also like to follow us through the social media, so currently we push some of our video blog on YouTube, so you can just search for the channel name lifeforlivingwell.com. So we have amazing videos there as well, and you can share this link with friends and family that you think the messages really help to. If you like to say your question or your feedback, or you like to get in touch, please use the contact me form on the website and we will get back to you as soon as possible. So we are an amazing community and we're so glad that we have the opportunity and grace to do this. Without taking much of your time, let's dive into the topic for this week. The topic for this week is what I call, what are the roots of psychological pain? So you wonder why the first podcast in the year 2024 is started with such a topic. And it is very important to not try to ignore or run away for the foundation of each pain and focus so much in window dressing, decorating it, so we can cover up the actual issues. So I hope by the time we finish this topic, you will get one or two things that you can relate it to from it. So as we normally do is to take one person inspirational word and build our topic around that. So this week I'm taking from William Goldman. So he said, and I quote, "Life is pain. Highness, anyone who said differently is selling something." So it's a short quote, but it's a very deep quote. So the way this topic goes is certainly to look at psychological pain, and it comprises several certain level of beliefs, even thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. And this can be seen as a root cause of many psychological pains. How someone thinks about things, it also influences the way they act at the same time. It is a report that it once said that if you think you cannot do a thing, and if you also think you can do a thing, you are right. So for such a person that think they cannot do a thing, or think that the root cause of their problem is because of this and that, without even testing that thinking or thought, it is very difficult to liberate that person unless that thought or thinking can be influenced or changed. So Shneidman argued that psychological pain is caused by frustrated psychological needs. And the example was given that there's a need for love, need for autonomy, need for affiliation in the sense that need for belonging, association that you're known to, and also the need for achievement, or the need to avoid harm, which is the natural instinct of every human being, is to not put ourselves where we can be harmed. But sometimes we make a decision that actually puts us into that exactly. The need to avoid shame. And we all can see it in the news or magazine why people, despite the fact that they were successful in their career, but the fact that private life that is hidden to the public but is personal to them as being exposed by wicked souls, the shame is unbearable for that individual. Sometimes they do the extreme by taking their own life. The need to avoid embarrassment. So you can see why psychological pain is so deeper than the physical pain. Physical pain, it's easy to see. You could be bandaging it or be treating it. But psychological pain is so deep that sometimes it have so much effect. Like if it's happened when you're a child or when you are younger, by the time you get to adulthood, you have no idea that this pain is still reverberate around your life. It's affecting the decision you make. It's affecting the choice of partner you want to be with. Someone once told me one day that if you put a lot of people in a room and if 99% of those people are actually good people to be with, she will always go for 1% of that person that will really cause more pain for her. So I asked why, and she said she didn't know. And what you have to think about any of these things is, what is the impact of our childhood pain if untreated has to do with our adult life, whether in our business, whether in our relationship, whether in our group of friends, whether even the way we do things. So according to Shneidman, argued that the lack of this need or the reason for this need can also trigger a psychological pain for individual. But in this article, I want to focus more into the need rather than the impact it has on us. So let's explore this perspective and how it affects day-to-day living. Unmet needs cause more pain in adulthood, and it could be because of neglected parenting, often manifesting in dysfunctional character and relationships. It is also linked to personality disorder like borderline. While many studies have shown the impact of psychological pain, but the little is known about what is causing it. So average person can explain certain personality or passive disorder. They can explain how that disorder make people behave because they might have experienced it or read about it. But hardly you find a lot of people to actually take a time to read or understand or even do research about what is the root cause of this. So, in this podcast, I want to focus on the causes, and I want to a little bit expatiate it in a short way that can create curiosity for you as you listen to it to find out more if it's something interesting to you. And I think that it could be a key to help us understanding ourselves, understanding the people around us a little bit. So the aim is to start the necessary conversation for better self-management. First, the needs are diverse. So when we talk about needs, we don't have a single need. So the way love need is meant for me might not be the way it's meant for one of my siblings or my friend or my partner. And the level how our love is, if it's full, if it's middle, if it's empty, we also have the impact on us. So we need to realize that our need, we might have a need for love. We might have it in a different level. Some people need it in a big bowl. Some people need it in a small cup of tea. First, these needs are diverse, as I said, and is mostly in line with how you are raised, your cultural norms and traditions. So take for instance, in some cultures, especially in Asia, especially in Japan, debt can be perceived wrong. It can bring shame to the family. And in some part of the country in the world, even marry a different tribes to you can also bring shame easily to your family, whether you are different from religious perspective or just caste perspective. It can really, they can feel shame so much, even though they try everything to avoid it. So the question is the divergence and the conflict of different needs, or your own need. When you pursued it religiously, it can also bring shame to family, and their response could be fatal. We've seen that in the news. It doesn't make it right, but the purpose of this podcast is to look into what causes psychological pain and the needs that behind those pain. Now, let's examine the needs one by one. Let's take love as number one. Not all people are the same. Love that goes beyond romanticism involves the need for human connection and acceptance. And one of the irony about this thing is that we're being sold romantic love that is all about feelings. The moment I don't feel for you anymore, I don't love you anymore. This is really destructive, and we can see how it's very destructive in the relationship, because the people's expectation does not match the reality. The person you like because of their physical attributes, their character might be the thing that you cannot live with. Their eccentricity might be the thing that are really difficult for you to accept. But love in its own divine and its own meaning is the ability to connect. Whether connecting to nature or connecting to animals or connecting to another human being, or even connecting within yourself. This is go beyond a romanticism feelings. So how does it play out in other relationships? It is truly matters. Our actions and the type of partner we are attracted to often reflect our capacity for love. If you are crying for love, it is really difficult to attract a partner that can fill that hole. You're probably going to attract the person that may even looking for love, but they didn't know another way to do it. And it's always better when you are already know how to give yourself that love and you swim in that love. It's easier to give because you cannot give what you don't have. Some of the brilliant African proverbs that someone told me a long time ago is beware of a naked man that promises you clothes. So you cannot give what you don't have. So that takes me to number 2. The number 2 need that when it's lacking, it can easily create psychological pain for us. Is what is autonomy. By the time we reach adulthood, we begin to separate ourselves from primary caregivers. Autonomy goes beyond providing for oneself. It encompassing thoughts, self-management, and resistance to outside influences. Will you say that some of your decisions, some of your behaviors are solely depends on you? I doubt it. Because we are not so good to ask questions. Why am I doing what I'm doing? And sometimes we carry on the belief, the thoughts that we already planted into our mind, and we just begin to continue to live it without question. Because when you become an autonomous individual, not only that you against the culture, it will be difficult for you to carry on as business as usual because your values is clash with the beliefs that does not match that's contradicting the values. You're able to question the cultures, the values that you are raised from without attacking the people that still value that cultures and values, which is really difficult because what most people do is the moment they can see better, they become militant, they become evangelical, and they wanted to by force or manipulation or using emotional manipulation, guilting them so that they can rise to the level they are. No. You embrace the wisdom with your approach. Because being autonomous doesn't take away the empathy and the compassion that come from where you used to see things and then you can say better, not looking down on people that are not able to see yet what you're able to see. Because everything in life is all perspectives. And the higher your vibration, the better you can perceive. So just imagine you have a ladder up to 12 steps. The person in step 5 will definitely see better than someone in step 1. Why somebody in step 10 will say even more better than someone in step 5. If your limit of truth is step 1, it's probably right for you. It might not right for the someone for level 5. So when we fail to pursue or evolve to autonomous stage with our self-consciousness damage And the only way we can revert this thing is to take a little bit more responsibility. How do we do that? Own up to our choices. Own up to the consequences of it. That will empower you. Because autonomous means you become empowered. Because you take responsibility and accountability. So that takes me to number 3. So I'm conscious of time. Affiliations. So this is more to be a sense of belonging. It can invoking a fear of missing out when connection with others is absent. So the level of pain may be felt, but the behavior of individual reflects it. It is important to uncover the root cause rather than covering it up with activities. So how do you feel if you are not able to do what you're doing with the association or group you belong to in 1 or 2 days in a week? Is your life come to the end, or you feel so sad that you cannot be there? Perhaps it's a chance to investigate that feelings more, because the need to belong is essential, but it should not collapse ourselves. That takes me to another point: achievement, the need for achievement. As humans, the pursuit of competition, status, and societal admiration for success can sometimes push individuals to cross ethical lines. We can see it. We saw it in the news. People that are already extremely rich, wealthy, they want more. So they begin to do inside trading, having the position of authority, have access to information, using that information to profit their own self in the expense of other people. What will make anyone do this is purely because it's never enough. It's overachievement. But achievement itself is not a bad thing. Pursuing it destructively brings pains. So be mindful of that. And lastly, avoidance of harm, shame, and embarrassment. We all know it. At one point in life, we have experienced one of these 3. And it's not really nice feelings to have. So, and if you constantly put yourself and experience this constantly, it could easily damage you psychologically, and it can paralyze you to do anything. I know someone that have desire to be an accountant, but she was so worried so much about failing, so worried about not being able to be successful, so she never tried. Also, traveling. People worry all the time about things that may happen to them, even though the country is safe enough, but they still worry about going there, so they didn't. So the fear of taking risks, asking questions, or expressing opinion in an ethical way can be pervasive. So lastly, as we're bringing this podcast to the end, please note, untreated psychological pain often manifests in people's lives in various ways, primarily stemming from unmet needs. The question is, what are these needs? Are we aware of them? So this podcast aims to highlight the needs behind the pains people often feel. and experience. So I suggest seeking help, starting with a qualified therapist or comprehensive books is crucial. I hope this podcast helps someone. Until we meet again, have a wonderful week and please stay safe. Ciao.